Hello everyone and welcome back to Kralizec Gaming. Today we are going to take a look at Nine Parchments, a cooperative blast 'em action role-playing game promising the fun of games like Diablo, but set in a much more friendlier world with lots of spells for you to discover and many monsters to fight. Whether it can deliver on this promise is the question we will try to answer today. Nine Parchments is available on Steam for €19.99, their regional equivalent. So before we get into the actual review, I guess I should mention one thing. This is not my kind of typical review. I usually write a script. This was going to be a little bit more freeform. So before we get into the actual game, let's take a quick look around the menus. Got obviously single player, multiplayer, so multiplayer is kind of amazing in this game. You got local multiplayer on a single computer. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, you can play on one computer with a friend, or up to 4 friends actually, if you got enough controllers or enough keyboards. Yeah, that's not something you get to see very often these days. I'm very proud that the game developers decided to make this. Really happy about it. Otherwise, we got some unlocks. This is where you can see all that we have unlocked in the game. I've spent quite a lot of time, I would say about 6, maybe 7 hours in the game. You can see there is a lot of characters available. I'm currently playing as Cornelius Crownstead. I like him. Obviously there are hats, because if a game doesn't have hats these days, it's not a game. These are purely cosmetic. Yeah, they really don't do anything, just pick the one you like. I usually like this one. It's just a hat, you know? I like it. Then we have, staves. These are actually pretty much the only piece of equipment that you can discover to get some bonuses. So for example, this one, the cornflower staff, it increases your spell regeneration, and again, increases your spell regeneration after you blink. This one increases your life spell power. This one heals targets if you hit them with your staff. Yeah, you can be a healer that literally beats your friends into being healthy. If that isn't awesome, I don't know what is. For example, this one has a 20% chance to deal fire damage. This one has a 20 resistance, increases spell charge. This one was the one I was using pretty early on because it's one of the first one it gets, heals you. It's just the usual things. Nothing really surprising here. You have some spells. You can see there's a lot of spells available as well. I see I unlocked, I would say 1/3 of them. Yeah, that's probably a good number. I'm quite conservative in my spells. I just like the typical fantasy spells. And here are all levels. There are some collectibles always in them. I haven't gone through the whole game yet, but I think it's not really a problem. It's actually pretty repetitive, but in a good way. It's quite fun. And you can see enemies. Quite a lot of enemies. Yeah, a big number. But there's one thing, the enemies are sort of repeating themselves, but you can see they have variations. But essentially, each enemy gets a variation on itself. Apart from enemies, we also got some achievements. Yeah, achievements. Pretty standard these days. And statistics like how many people you killed. I managed to kill 6 of my allies. I'm good. Damage, friendly fire, self-igniting heals. Just so you can get some numbers. And we have the options menu, which is pretty good, to be honest. So you have the audio, language, master volume, obviously separate sliders, headphone mode. I really like the headphone mode. I really don't know what exactly it does, but the game does sound bit better when it does happen. We got some choices for the text, which are pretty nice. Obviously, I'm going to be using English, subtitles, and dialogue events. So this is when dialogue between characters happens. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Because we're playing with friends. Maybe you don't have voice, but you still want to have a little bit of banter going on. This is just like pre-done banter. But I'll talk about it a little bit later. We have gamepad binds because you can play this on a gamepad. Yeah, it's nice that you can you rebind these? I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like you're capable of rebinding these. But either way, I play this on a gamepad. It's not bad, but it doesn't compare to a mouse, obviously. You get the keyboard and mouse binds. Yeah, obviously everything is rebindable. Everything can have 2 different things for it to be used. That's quite good that this is the case. Here's some gameplay settings. For example, you can invert friendly fire. So if you know you're playing with just people who are always in your way and you don't want to be killing them, then you can just invert it and, well, friendly fire will hit you. Or you can go 50-50 or just ignore, you know, but that's only for things like area of effects. We have controller vibration. I hate controller vibration. I just don't like them. Your blink direction can be either the way you're moving or essentially the place you're aiming. Beam auto aim, that just slightly makes it easier. Projectile auto aim angle is how much they were angle. I'm not using that much. And apply auto aim options to mouse. Yeah, I'm not doing that because I'm playing that on a mouse. But yeah, good choices. Some very good, some friendly choices. Obviously, this is not your most hardcore game. But because it isn't, you can actually play this, for example, your kids. You get some UA customizations options. These are mostly for online plays, so you know where everybody is. I just, only thing I changed here was enemy health, because I wanted to always see the enemy health. Standard, I think it's when damaged. So essentially, once you touch them, they just have it anyway, so it's not a big thing. And I also reduced the fade of the spell wheel because it was certain, you know what, I might act. No, let's leave it at 2 seconds, that's a good number. And then we have some visuals. And these are pretty much the only ones they're lacking. So you can cap your FPS. I don't really understand why anybody would do that. Your resolution options, these go up to 1080 on my computer. Maybe they go higher if you have a higher resolution display. Anti-aliasing, okay, vertical. Why is vertical on? I don't want vertical on. Window modes, obviously choices between window, borderless window, and full screen. And then we just go visual quality. And you can go from lowest to highest. No real options here, but the game runs pretty fine on my computer, but my computer is pretty well packed. I've been constantly getting above 60 FPS. No real drops apart from when my computer starts doing something on its own times. Okay, let's go into my resumed game. I'm about 3/5 of the way in. And I already got some spells, so you can see I got, you know, your prototypical fireball, which just explodes on impact. It actually does some AoE. I got this little AoE bomb that deals death damage. I got my healing circle, which I can stand in to heal. But also, which is quite nice, you can use it to damage death enemies. I got my electricity bolt, storm bolt I think it's called. This is a new spell I just acquired once last level. It's just, you know, a cloud of frost. I nearly just killed myself with it. Let's not do that anymore. And I got a frost beam. Yeah, lasers. Oh, I'm sorry. Give me a second. Okay, I just need to quickly dispense with this. Okay, good. This shouldn't be bothering us anymore. Okay, let's go in. So let's choose first spell. And I hear enemy somewhere. Yeah, there's an enemy. Let's just freeze these fuckers. Oh fuck, there's a frost enemy, so we need some fire stuff. And it's mostly, you know, just your Diablo-like game. Let's use some storm bolts which stun them all. And now let's fireball them to death. And it's a pretty casual game. After every fight, your health resets, your mana resets. Each spell has a separate mana bar, which is quite interesting. You don't see that pretty often in games because you know, but it like makes you switch between spells, so you can't just spam, you know, the best spell. But switching spells is actually a thing that is done in Nine Parchments quite a lot anyways, because enemies, they have elemental resistances, and you just can. If I would attempt to shoot at one of these enemies with my frost beam, they would just be immune. So you need to switch between your spells quite often. Okay, well, I hate these guys. Let's use frost shit here. This should freeze them for a moment. Let's blink. Throw this here, getting them nearly to death. And I need to obviously avoid all of their stuff. Everything is nicely telegraphed. I really like that. Oh shit, this wasn't good. Okay, now I only got this big one to deal with. So let's freeze him. Let's throw this bomb at him. So this guy is quite interesting. He actually has spell reflect. Look, see? I need to get behind him to be able to kill him. But that's quite easily done because you have a blink. You can blink around 2 times in a row, then you have to wait for it to recharge. And, oh crap, these guys actually see, when you use a fireball on them, they just die in 1 hit. But if they get to you, man, you're loads of trouble. I know, I'm not using my blink correctly. You shouldn't be using it to fast travel. Okay, what is this? What are these guys? Okay, what else can we throw at them? Oh, this one is immune to fire damage, so let's throw another frost bomb at him. And just have him to death. Yeah, it's pretty much the basic game mechanics, but I quite like them. You know, you just move with your WASD keys, you shoot with your mouse. You also have an option to slam your opponents. That's actually quite useful at times, especially if it's an enemy you can just freeze to death with your frost beam, and then you slap them down over the head. The only other real mechanic are talents. These are probably one of the few things I would complain about. The talents are boring as hell. I mean, like, remember the talents in early World of Warcraft, which nobody really liked because they were just slight percentile increases? Yeah, it's exactly it. You know, 1.5 spell power and 2 spell charges. Yeah, that's great. You know, or here, these are a little bit better. 25% faster spell regeneration for 2 seconds after a kill. Maximum 125. And this is nearly the end talent. The end talent here is 10% critical hit chance and 20% spell power. I really wish these talents would have been done in a different way. Not necessarily for them to be abilities, but this one is probably the closest to what I like. It's after you do something, something happens. For example, I would like to see, you know, after you kill your enemy, you can cast your next fireball for free or something like that. But it's not really much of a case. These are pretty much the only ones that are after a kill. Yeah, that's the only thing that's here. This one is decent. Channels, you know, 1% more damage once you channel your spell. Yay, more percentages. It's all percentage based, and I'm not a big fan of that. On top of that, it doesn't really make you get more powerful as you level up. It's just... Okay, I'll zap him. It's... The game's main meat is just about switching spells and trying to avoid enemy telegraphs and trying to get as far as you can. But as I said, I don't really like the talent system. It's not really that great. Oh, that's a healer. I need to kill the healer. Always kill the healer. Oh, crap. Those guys there are frosties, so let's kill one of them. Let's spam this guy. This guy's dead. And now I can just zap the shit out of this one. But yeah, the game looks stunning. You know, just right now I'm in a bad spot. Let's just look at even this. I know this is a frost map, so it's sort of white. But still, even this frost map is really colorful. There are lots of colors, even in this very one-color game. See, now we're going into dark blue and red. It's not your typical ARPG where usually everything just seems dark. Okay, what is this? Oh, this guy's actually death. So watch this. Boom, and he's dead. This is one of my favorite things to do. And yeah, you can kill yourself with your own spells. A lot of this game is actually based on the Fix system by NVIDIA. Physics? I don't know how it's pronounced, but you know, the system that does physics for games. And it really shows. You can destroy things on occasion, things explode. But yeah, the game just looks really nice. Okay, so this is, I know I'm going to be coming back here, but now I want to come down here.
Max, up to 9 persons, or 2 enraged pigs, or 10 robust cabbages.
Yeah, the game is quite funny. It's not like the best. It's, if I would be to describe this game. Oh crap! This was a mistake. This was a big mistake. I need to go into my healing beam. Let's kill these guys. Oh, my zapping gun. I really need to kill this guy, but first I want to kill this guy so I'm a bit more safe while doing it. Oh yeah, and he's dead. Good. The game, I'm currently playing on normal. The game isn't the hardest, but there are certainly times when you die. Interesting thing that is here, when you die, you get one more chance. So right now I'm this sort of like half puzzle thing. I have to light these braziers to get the fog away. It's not a puzzle thing, it's just, you know, shoot them. Where's the next one? Here. Okay, now. Yeah, and even non-elemental enemies can have these shields on them, which make them immune to a certain type of damage. I quite liked it. I like the elemental system. It's something not commonly seen these days. Damn, that hurt. I want this heal. Boom, boom, boom. I'm out of fireballs. Oh crap. As you can see, I currently have a pretty decent selection of spells. As I said, I'm about 1/3 of the game in. So I already discovered 2 spells, but I started with this fireball, bam 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 bam, with this frost beam, and this death bomb. Then I picked up this heal, these bolts, and recently, as I said, I picked up this frost bomb. I really like the frost bomb, super good. Yeah, and just avoid everything. That's pretty much the point of the game. There's a brazier, there's a brazier. More braziers, or this is it? There's a brazier, here's a brazier, here's a brazier. There's another one, there's another one. I need my fireballs. Oh, damn, I don't need my fireballs, I just need to light this. And this unlocks a new character. But I've already unlocked this one. But this is the way you unlock characters in this game. You just go in and do these little events. It's quite nice. But let me talk about the graphics. I'm getting offline, so the graphics, I can't say how much wonderful they are. I might just go and start a new game for you guys so you can see how luscious the graphics are. Let's finish this level and then we're just going to start a new game. because that one isn't set in a death cave, frost death cave. Okay, yeah, open the door. We're here. Do I go down again? I think I do. I hope I remember this correctly. This was the only point in time I was confused. Like, well, I'm back. What should I do now? And I'm confused again. But otherwise, the game is quite linear and sort of repetitive. Yeah, it is repetitive. There's like no real randomization except for one enemy spawn. And even those aren't completely randomized. So, for example, in this frost level, there's a much higher chance of getting frost enemies. Here's a chest. Let's open the chest. And we got a new hat. A circlet, and it looks like the thing you put on a horse. Why would anybody want that on their head? Okay. Oh, so this guy has a slow time mechanic on. Okay, a fiery enemy in this level. Let's quickly dispose of these guys. An interesting thing is, you can actually use your enemy's attacks to kill the rest of the enemies. Oh, let me just wait for this. Jump. Oh, that was dumb. Let's put on a healing circle. And kill this guy with a bomb. Bam, he's dead. Okay, let's move forward. But apart from the graphics, okay, here's the end of the level. So let's just finish this level so you see how that looks, and then go into a completely new game that has a bit more of the typical environment of the game. Plus, we will actually get to a boss fight faster, and I want to show you guys a boss. Currently I didn't earn enough experience to get a new level, but as I said, these talents are just super boring. Okay, yeah, let's have a new level load. Let's go to main menu. Single player, yes, I want to. Let's go with normal again. Join, take the same character because I like him. Take my favorite staff, and we're in. Okay, so we're going to see the tutorial, obviously, first. So yeah, the tutorial is probably the only dark level at all. And I just go quickly through it. You just jump. Yeah, you can see the levels actually have some degree of verticality to them. That's not something that you can usually see. Bam, 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 bam.
It was time for yet another spell test.
Yeah, so story-wise, you're like a student in this academy of magic, and you pretty much fail your exams. But then something explodes, and then, well, let's me avoid spoilers here. You just go into the world and try to collect stuff so you can pass your graduation. That's pretty much it in terms of story. But you can see the game just is... These images are so beautiful. And now, yeah, see how luscious this seems? And there are quite a lot of environments. It's not just, you know, all death and gloom, like, for example, Diablo often feels. Okay, enemies. This one has a frost shield. Let's quickly kill him. Do these have any shields? No. You can freeze enemies and then smack them on the head. So obviously this is the first level, so it's not really that hard. But it will allow me to get to the first boss quickly and show you the bosses. Because to be honest, the bosses are probably the most boring thing in the game. Yeah, so these guys just run at you. I like to freeze them. See, let them unfreeze. And frozen again. There's one more. We can actually freeze them. Smack him on the head a few times. Freeze him a bit more. Smack him more. But yeah, see the water. This is just so freaking beautiful. And I'm just amazed how much time was put into this. Let's quickly kill the frost guy. in terms of, like, for example, the game's performance, it just runs beautifully. These are full details, and again, the game is just so lovely. I can't get it over how lovely the game is. It's probably one of the most beautiful games. There was a lot of beautiful games this year. Whether it's Pyre or Cuphead on my top list. But yeah, if this would come up next year, I would say this is certainly at the moment the most beautiful game of the year, but sadly it has a lot of competition this year. Can't do much. I forgot to actually talk about one mechanic, though I cannot show it off to you unless I get a beam guy, somebody who would shoot some beams. Oh, I hate these ones. They jump, and once they're halfway jumped, they can get frozen, but you cannot attack them anymore. But it's something I got to do yesterday with my girlfriend. When playing for about an hour together, and when you have these beam attacks, you can actually combine them together to create like multi-elemental super beams. And I love that mechanic, especially since the game is actually available for up to 4 players. You can do that pretty easily. And it adds a completely new element to the multiplayer. So here, one of the collectibles I already discovered one. It's just like these little feathers. You just collect them. And if you collect them, you actually get unlocks for staffs. And that's quite interesting. What do we get here? Oh, of course I shoot only one of them. Okay, I'm nearly want to freeze you and just use my frost beam at you. Yeah. Let's continue on. And you see, this is just your casual action RPG. But it's done really well. Not something you see that often these days, to be honest. It has new things. That's the thing that is impressive to me. The elemental mechanics, yeah, while used in plenty of other games, are done to such a wonderful degree here. And the staff, one of the ones I already have. But even if for stuff you already have, you get experience, so it's not completely worthless just to ignore everything. Yeah, the elemental mechanics are so well done here. I especially love the beams getting together. Oh, see, here's a... Is this one a beam guy? Yeah, and see, I can make steam if I cross arm. But I want to kill him, obviously, so let's just freeze him to death. And the elemental mechanics go a little bit further, so obviously fire monsters take more damage from frost spells, frost get from damage, that get more damage from life, so you can actually use your heals to kill the dead enemies. I love that. It's often the best way to do it, actually. Okay, so I hear Hog. Oh, and it's a Frost Hog. Well, let's quickly get rid of these guys first. And now I want to shoot this guy. Fun thing about these Hogs, you can actually sometimes get them just to jump off. Let me quickly show up that. So you can actually jump and die. See, I'm dead. I got my last chance. That's why it's like I'm going to show it to you guys now. Yeah, you can just drop off shit and die. In multiplayer, you just don't get resurrected like this. Only when everybody dies, then one of you gets resurrected like this. Otherwise, other people have to resurrect you. Just like in most games, that's just normal these days. Okay, we got through the level. Which level now? One more level, and then we're going to see the boss. So let's get through this level pretty
I picked up
quickly.
some pebbles as a sort of keepsake. Or at least I hope they were pebbles.
Another little thing. Oh, okay, let's just quickly kill these guys. So you can actually set your mood. So I was polite, now I'm insecure, I'm bitter, optimistic. Let's go with bitter, because that's what I'm usually. And it changes the dialogue of the characters. I really like that. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Quickly go. Okay, we got a level up. Let's quickly spend our one talent here, and now I get access to the most champion one. Even that one is boring. I really don't like the talent system. Oh, here's a chest. Let's quickly open the chest. Obviously, I'm missing a lot of these. I'm just not paying that much attention to them anymore. But yeah, I've been playing this on a gamepad. The gamepad is just so much more worse, to be honest. Like, almost frosty, guys. Ouch. I really love the music of the game. The music is just so cheerful. Oh, a new hat. This one is also dumb. The heads aren't really my kind of thing. And these guys actually get transformed into the elemental type if somebody of an elemental type dies around them. That's also an interesting mechanic. I don't think I've ever seen this. Okay, here we'll see the physical engine just explodes. It's not the best explosion ever, obviously. But I love all these contraptions. Exactly the word. Yeah, they're just amazingly well animated. So if there was like a game to like a particular group of people, I would recommend this. It would be actually parents with young children. So let's say you have 11, 12-year-olds. They still prefer games that look colorful and cheerful. They aren't yet in their teenage moody. In my days, it would be emo. These days, it's just normal, you know. Kids like. Kids just like, you know, dark things because I'm all broody. But before they get to that age, this game is just perfect for them. See, it's how colorful it is, and how cheerful everything looks, from the graphics to just these images on screen, up to actually even the bosses. Okay, so we're going to get a boss fight right now.
Parchments was surely near now, but little did anyone know what was lurking ahead.
Yeah, so let's see what's lurking ahead. That thing is lurking ahead. Doesn't that just look amazing?
Was not the only thing to give pause to anyone admiring.
Seriously, just take a look at this vista.
Of some terrifying sort.
I wish I could just have this. If I could just take my character off screen, just push print screen, and have this as my background, as my desktop background, because the vistas in this game are just purely amazing. I mean, seriously, this is freaking gorgeous. Okay, but let's get to the boss, and the bosses are pretty much the only thing in terms of combat I would like to complain about. They are actually easier than most of the fights. Yeah, they just have, you know, for example, this one has this little green attack on the ground and he needs to avoid. And then he charges his fire attack. Let's throw a bomb at him. And that's all there is to it. So now I just again need to avoid these screen thingies. And it would be okay if they would be disappearing over time, but they wouldn't be disappearing over time because that would make them hard. Funnily enough, the game was actually harder in co-op, and he's dead. See? The bosses are super easy. I know this is the first one, but even the bosses further up in the game aren't really that much more interesting. So for example, the next boss is just an arena where, you know, those hogs run around you. Let's open his chest, nothing here. And we will now finish the level. And this is, when you defeat the boss, you get a choice to get a new spell. So for example, I get a chance to have a small life circle. That's the one I usually pick because not only you get at least a little bit of healing, but you really need healing. You have Death Flower, so this just throws a flower when anything touches it, and a wave of death magic comes from it, and a Death Bolt. So Death Bolts are actually quite awesome, especially if you like long range sniping, because then they deal insane amounts of damage. But again, well, let's just pick healing here, and that's pretty much it. I'm so sad I cannot show you guys co-op because it is quite fun. There's one big problem with co-op. It doesn't save progress. So you pretty much have to go through the whole game in one run, at least at this point when I'm recording this. Otherwise, your progress doesn't get saved. You can continue the game, but only alone. So you cannot like play 5 levels with your friend here, go to a pub, get shit-faced drunk, and then come back and be like, I want to play a little bit more of that game we played. And be like, yeah. You cannot continue. You have to start all over again. And that's something I hope is going to get fixed in a patch. If it does, then this becomes an amazing co-op game. Also, I don't understand, well, there's actually only one save game available. Let's go to the main menu, and you can see if I go into multiplayer and I want to go local player, it will warn me that a new game will reset my level progress. Why cannot there be a level progress, one separate for purely single player and one purely for multiplayer? That's just a thing I don't really understand. But otherwise, I'm going to recommend this. It's not an expensive game, though it's not really that cheap, but it's definitely up there in the AA production value, especially with its graphics and sound. The sounds, you can hear the music. Let's just listen to the music for a little bit. And you can hear the music just sounds cheerful and epic at the same time. It's not something you usually get in these games. Usually the music does sound epic, but more along the lines of just evil. But I really like this. And again, I would recommend this for fathers with young children, or even mothers with young children, obviously, but there's still that disparity of much more men play games. But just if you're a parent with a small child and you're looking for something to play with them that you can play on a single computer, this is a great choice for 20 bucks. Really, great recommendation. The combat is really fun. Love the elemental mechanics. The game looks stunning. The music is great. Performance-wise is good as well. What it needs at the moment is just a fix to the multiplayer so you can play it in more than one setting, because you cannot usually get a 10, 12-year-old to sit with you for 6 hours. Though making them sit with you at a computer for 6 hours might be a little bit easier than, for example, reading with them these days. So, once again, Nine Parchments is available on Steam for $19 or 19 euros and 99 cents. So definite recommendation for me. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today, guys. If you liked the review, please consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. If you're watching this on Steemit, consider uploading this review and following my blog. And with that being said, that's going to be it. So see you guys later with more gaming content.